Yeah, dude, burnout.
What a week, and what a weird burnout. We've been talking about this for years. Hello, COVID.
Yeah.
Like just burnout as a collective, as a whole, of everybody that we know. And I feel like we're all kind of taking turns of being like, hey, it was like Liam, and then it was like Anaya, and like the last 6 months of his job, and now it's gonna be you, and like
here I am.
Like we wake up and we're like, okay, I knew that this was kind of coming. You know, I've been feeling some kind of a way.
Yeah.
And then it's like you just get trucked and you're like, actually.
It's also, I think it's really tough. So I got called out at work.
Yeah.
For like dropping the ball on some things.
Yeah.
And it like really kind of prompted me to sit and reflect. And I was like, oh, I'm really burned out.
That's why I'm not doing the thing.
Right? Like that's why I'm really, really good at my job and literally everything else is falling by the wayside.
Yep.
Like
can relate.
I can't pick up the phone.
No,
yeah, right? Like I can't.
The allocation of spoons is like fucking no win the
and like and the second that I finish my work day, like my brain just melts.
It's potato 30.
Yeah, like I am, and I'm not really doing anything about it. Like I kind of noticed that I was feeling a little bit complacent. Like I've been, we're in this transition period. We're still getting our bearings around this new job, which I'm sure that I sound like a broken record, but whatever. Transitions take time, people.
I mean, but they really do. They really do.
Yeah, they really do. And
to say more to that, you and I as people, but definitely as a society too, and I magnify this times 1,000 when I do a thing, and I know that when you do a thing or things are happening, it's like, even if we think that we're attempting to be soft and like give ourselves some grace, it's like, okay, this thing happened and we're just gonna like move through it. We're just gonna like move through and we're just gonna be like done with it because it's done, and now we're gonna do like the next thing.
And I think for me, it's sometimes hard to see. Like I need somebody else to point it out for me because the tunnel vision that I experience when I'm burned out is so severe that I can't even see that I'm burned out.
I was just telling Anaya that like, especially with some of the personal stuff with like the kid's dad and whatnot, that stuff that I'm experiencing, it's leaving me like feeling hollow. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't feel creative. I don't feel like super stoked about things. You know what I mean? And like, that's how I know that I'm like, oh, that's emotional burnout. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
When I'm, I thrive on like all of my creative projects, whether it's like doing the podcast or writing or like, pouring into making things for the bakery or whatever. So when I reach that part of Shamble Mountain of like, none of that actually sounds creative or like stimulating. I'm like, oh,
here we are.
Yeah.
Found it.
We found the burnout mountain.
Yeah. I feel like burnout's more of a pit.
Oh yeah, you're not on a mountain, I reckon.
No, because like I think that's where like it also can be really overwhelming. Is like if I'm in the pit of burnout,
how am I crawling back
out?
At least to Shamble Mountain.
And like
there's air there.
And that's where, again, I like have to remind myself, like, okay, this is where I have to ask for support from my community and blah, blah, blah. Like, we are all going to help hang art and build IKEA furniture in my new office in a couple weeks. Like, we are all going to,
which is going to be another transition, a good one.
Yes.
But still.
It's cutting my commute by like a lot, and I'm really excited.
I can throw a rock at your office.
And you can throw a rock in my office.
Literally.
But yeah, it's just this like season of burnout. And I think what's like kind of getting to me right now is that I don't have a choice but to kind of like,
you got to be
grin and bear it.
Yeah.
Like right now, it is so hard to find a therapist right now.
Yeah. It's insane.
Like, I can't.
Even a psychiatrist, it's like not a thing.
I was like thinking that I was going to stop taking new clients for the rest of the year. And I like can't in good conscience do it. Right. And like, then it's asking myself, okay, well,
am I a good therapist? I can't.
Am I a good therapist? Am I like modeling being the type of, I don't know,
like a community-minded cow person,
right? Like, am I a good therapist if like being a good therapist comes at the expense of every other aspect of my life?
Well, baby, I mean, we all know that it's just doctors don't make good patients.
Yeah, doctors make the worst patients. You know, that's the same thing with the therapists. So what?
We'll talk more about that.
Okay, so here's the thing that like I'm kind of sitting in is we know that one of the like surefire ways to come out of or like start healing from burnout is to like recenter pleasure.
Yep.
Right? We know that that's going to soften our nervous system. We know that that's going to bring like laughter and ease and all of these good things into our lives.
Yep.
So, and we're tired.
Like literally though.
Like physically, emotionally, I don't know, philosophically.
A bitch needs sleep.
Tired.
My bones are tired.
So, what are we doing to tap into pleasure? Like, how are we meeting ourselves where we're at right now in this context of like burnout and, you know, being under the weather and all of this stuff? Like, what are we gonna do
about
to make pleasure accessible to us within the context of being burnt out blobs?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah. I want you to tell me because I'm
going to tell you what to do. Ooh, I'm so good at being the mom. So, I mean, I kind of told you this the other day of like what, you know, I also am going through like a big transitional kind of period in like a lot of ways.
Changes.
Like in my personal life, in my professional life. And so I'm going to make a promise to myself to do a better job of like not necessarily staying complacent and like being committed to staying in the burnout pit, but like when the times come that someone's like, hi, you're burnt out and I love you, I need to take this off of your plate, I'm going to shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. I'm going to continue to try to do a better job of shutting the fuck up and like letting, you know, whether it's my community or Anaya or, you know, like letting folks that love me be like, hey, I know that you want to make that 3-course dinner. I know that you want to make, you know, a specific thing for queer dinner, but also what about fried rice? I'm going to have like more fried rice kind of a vibes for now. You know,
I like that.
I also, as the weather starts to change, I historically get real creative in the fall. Mm-hmm. Fall is kind of like when I feel like reinvigorated to like specifically in regards to like reading and writing. Mm-hmm. And so I want to like continue to access that however I possibly can. I usually find myself in the kitchen more because it's cooler.
Right. It's like all of a sudden the kitchen feels accessible again and because cozy. It's not 1,000 degrees.
Yeah, and it becomes less of, you know, a chore because you're not sweating all over everything. Mm-hmm. So I also know that because the days are going to start getting shorter, that when I can, it's time to get her big ass outside again.
Oh,
when I can.
Yeah.
You know, because it's been miserable because of how hot it is. Mm-hmm. Even the kids, you know, like we are a walk after dinner kind of a family.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah. But it just like hasn't been an option.
5 fucking degrees at 5 p.m. and my kids have already played outside several times during the day.
No way.
Both of them are like not super jazzed about it.
No.
So I want to be outside. I would like to focus on like getting some fall hikes in, and also just like moving my body more in general. That's what I'm going to do.
I like those ideas. Yeah.
She's leaning on her community. She's going to move her body more.
Yeah.
And she's going to put some sunshine on her face while she still can.
Yeah. Ugh. I'm like, even the idea of like admitting that I'm burned out and like doing things to care for that makes me feel so anxious.
Oh, same.
I'm like as you're like saying these things, I'm just like noticing this like tension bubble up in my body, and I'm like, oh God, like this. All right, well,
we got to do a thing.
We gotta like do something about this.
And also, like, I think it's important to note the line. You know what I mean? Because again, there has to be some sort of merge of like allowing yourself to kind of like be where you're at, but also like if you can help it to maybe not be complacent forever.
Yeah, I think that's like what is tough when you're already in.
When you're in it.
When you're in the pit.
Yeah, when you're
right. When you're in the pit, you're like, well, like climbing out of here is so daunting.
It's so fucking daunting, and it really is. It's like starting anything. I mean, even, and I fucking hate this reference, but goddamn, I mean, it is. It's like the new year, new me. Like I'm gonna go to the gym every, but like gearing up for that and like knowing like, okay, I'm committing to this thing.
It's like it's pressure.
Yeah. Like,
and I don't
pressurize the fuck out of it. And so it's like, how can we merge I'm going to meet myself where I'm at. I'm going to be a fried rice kind of a mom. But I'm also going to be like, I don't really love this version of me. And I'm going to let her kind of be there for a moment. But I'm also going to give her a couple beep boop pushes. Just like a nudge.
Yeah.
A nudge out of the pit. I'm going to throw her a rope.
Yeah. The way that I like kind of, I work with a lot of teachers somehow. Like that's just kind of a group that has ended up in my office quite a bit.
Which is cute and soft.
And
also tragic because.
Yeah, which I actually like really love.
Yeah. Yes.
But it gets to a certain point in the school year where the question is not, all right, how do we fix this? It's like, how do we make it suck 10% less?
Yep.
And I think that's like the grace that we have to kind of give ourselves right now is the expectation is not that we're going to fix this overnight. The expectation is not that I'm going to wake up tomorrow and my burnout's going to be cured because I went to one spin class.
Exactly.
The expectation is that, or the hope rather, is that we can do a little something every day to make it suck 10% less. And I think like, yeah, moving our bodies, great way to do that.
Yep.
Being in community is a great way to do that. Being, tapping into those creative things, whether that's, doodling while you watch TV or writing or whatever.
Last night I told you that like in between TikTok holes, right? Like after the kids go to bed, I don't let myself do this very often, but like sometimes I just need to let my brain fall out. And it's hard for me. I can't really watch TV unless I'm watching TV with Anaya because I'm like forced to shut the fuck up and like focus on the TV. So on occasion, I will just like let myself fall into like TikTok holes. And then I'm like, okay, you need to like come up out of it. And I'm going to force myself to read for 15 minutes before I can access TikTok again.
Yeah.
But like, I found that this book that I'm reading, Our Lady of Perpetual Hunger, is quite good. It's really good writing. The storyline so far is really fantastic. And even just the small amount, I don't know, I'm probably 50 pages in or something like that, But I'm like, oh yeah, you really do love reading. What are you doing?
Yeah. Those small moments of even just like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? I think I say we because I would like to think that I'm not alone in this. We underestimate how good it feels